r/AskReddit. Serious, people of Reddit, what is the creepiest thing that happened to you while home alone? I got a phone call asking how my TV was holding up. I thought it was just the company we bought it from checking up on it and doing their normal customer support stuff until I was told exactly what channel I was watching. I asked who it was on the phone and they said, "Don't worry, I can see you but you can't see me." I was 9 at the time and my parents were out of town for work, so my older sister, 17 at the time, got us all to hide in my parents' closet with the guns and we called the police. When they arrived they called us to let us know it was them knocking on the door. They found footprints but no person. We installed security cameras not soon after and never had a problem again, but it still creeps me out to this day. Home alone when I was 10 or 12, somewhere in between there. My parents' house is located in the suburbs surrounded by woods and the golf course. It was a stormy night and my parents went out for dinner. I was watching TV in the living room with my dog on my lap when all of a sudden she jumps up and sprints to the front door barking. She never barks, my dad trained her since she had a very loud annoying bark. I walk over and turn on the outside light to see nobody. As soon as I did this she sprinted to the back living room by the pool with sliding glass doors and starts barking over there like someone was inside the screened pool area. I run over and turn the pool lights on, empty. I started to get kind of freaked out. She then ran to the garage door barking like she was going to rip someone's face off. I grab a knife from the kitchen and open the garage door to hear the rain and see the main garage door wide open. I immediately shut the garage door and slammed the inside door behind me, grabbed my dog and ran into my room, locking the door and going into the closet. I waited in there what felt like 3 hours for my parents to get home. I told them everything and my dad went outside to find what looked like new muddy footprints around the garage and pool area. Nothing else ever came about from it, but man, I got the chills typing that out. Freaky experience. Saturday morning, 1970s. Dad is at work and my mom and sister went shopping for groceries. I was in the bath when the house was broken into. I froze, trying not to make a sound as I heard someone creeping through the house. Then heard them try to open the bathroom door just as the doorbell rang. It was Mom, hoping I'd open the front door because her arms were overloaded with grocery bags. She saw a shadow through the stained glass beside the front door go downstairs. I think that was the one time I'd never been happier to see my mom. I was 9. So what happened next? Did they catch the intruder? Later that evening, my father noticed something amiss downstairs. His storeroom in the basement had been ransacked and a bunch of albums stolen. He owned a small record store at the time. Realizing the house had been broken into, he called the police, who came by to investigate and dust for prints. It was only when one of the officers talked to me that I revealed the details about being scared shitless in the bath earlier that day. Mom was horrified. We found some albums scattered in the woodlot beside the house the following day. I distinctly recall Dreamboat Annie by Heart in the Creek. Lol, I'd have tossed that album too. The perp was eventually arrested and charged for multiple break-ins in the area. Juvenile offender, ordered community service and probation. This happened to my mom. She grew up in Wichita, Kansas while the BTK serial killer was active. The house of one of his first victims was down her block. But one day she was home with her brother, she was upstairs in her room and he was downstairs. Apparently he heard a noise in the backyard moments before the power cut out. This was one of the key things that BTK did before entering the home. She just knew the power went out, then heard her brother scream and yelled for her to run away. She hopped out her window and sprinted barefoot to a Pizza Hut a couple blocks away. She called the police, who went to the house but didn't find anything and everything turned out fine. I lived in that area too. My parents told me to check the phone when I came home from school to make sure there was a dial tone. I rode my bike home and checked the phone and there was no tone. Lol, I ran out the front and waited a few hours for my parents to come home. Turns out someone left the upstairs phone off the hook. Lamau. I had a dog that suddenly jumped awake at night and went absolutely apeshit. He ran to the rear of the house, barking, growling, hair standing on end. We're talking full-on fight to the death mode here. I tried walking back to see what the problem was, but he wouldn't let me past him, kept blocking my way. I did hear a couple strange sounds like maybe the house was settling, but nothing out of the ordinary. He was acting like whatever he was seeing or hearing was inside the house, not outside. He wasn't looking out a window, he was blocking the hallway to the laundry room and backing up like something was slowly advancing on him. After a while he calmed down, the supposed threat went away. It was probably about 10 minutes of pretty intense growling and barking though. Even after he calmed down, he still wouldn't let me go down that hall until daylight. When I finally did, I couldn't see anything unusual. I still have no idea what set him off, But whatever it was, he was not okay with it. He was honestly acting like he was going to die, but was damn sure taking whatever it was with him. My chihuahua sleeps right outside my bedroom door, and I usually leave the door open because he likes to look inside to see I'm still in there since he is a needy little shit. I don't let my dogs inside my room, and they know about this boundary and never cross it without permission. One night, I was gaming a bit before bed and he suddenly went apeshit and walked backwards inside the room while barking at something in the hall, which was unlit. I was wearing headphones, so I first only saw from the corner of my eye his little butt wiggling in, so I turned to scold him when I noticed his posture and how he was barking his little head off. I peeked to see what he was barking at. My other two dogs don't usually come inside at night, but I thought it might be them, but saw nothing and he seemed scared of me walking into the hall. He obviously couldn't stop me, but he kept positioning himself in front of me and nudging me back. I noped back into my room, pulled his bed inside and locked the door. He stayed up for what I assume was the rest of the night, looking at the door, because he was more or less in the same position after I woke up. He sniffed around a bit in the hall when we went out and went his merry way. I still have no idea what set him off like that, but I've had weird shit happening on that hall before and after this incident. I was living with my parents, but they were out of town for a couple of nights. I was sitting at my computer with my headphones on playing video games at maybe 1 to 2 in the morning. Suddenly I feel my phone vibrating. I look down and see that someone new has added me on Snapchat, and out of curiosity I accept. I continue playing my game, and when it's done I look at my phone again to see if the person has messaged me, which they had. So I open up the Snapchat and to my extreme horror I see that it's a photo of me sitting at my computer, playing video games. Taken from a good bit behind me with zoom. The photo had been taken maybe just a few minutes before while I was still in the game. There was no caption, no text, no nothing. I immediately go into panic mode and think I'm going to be murdered any second. Now, all the lights were off in the house, so I couldn't see outside of my room because it was pitch black, but the light switch for the hallway is just outside of my room. I sneak out and flick it on but don't see anyone. I slowly walk towards the kitchen to turn those lights on as well, and to grab a knife. As soon as I turn on the lights I hear someone literally stomping up the stairs from the first floor. Very slowly, but very loud. And the lights on the first floor were all off, so it was pitch black down there as well. At that point I just thought fuck it and ran outside. Outside I see two of my mates, filming me and laughing their asses off. Turns out that when they had been at my place earlier during the day they had devised a plan to prank the shit out of me, and stolen the extra key we kept at home. So two of the guys had gone in through the door on the bottom floor, and the other two were waiting outside to film my reaction when / if I ran out. Pretty anticlimactic ending to the story. But still, it scared the ever-loving shit out of me. 1. When I was about 7, I was left home alone while my mom went on an errand. It was a different time then. She told me to not answer the phone or the door. About an hour goes by and the phone rings. Then it stops, then it rings, then again about 4 times. I was determined not to answer it. Then the doorbell rings. Then knocking, then ringing and knocking. I was panicking. So I crawl on the floor to stealthily look out the side windows to see who it is. It's my neighbor. I opened the door and he said I needed to come with him to play at his house. I was like, but I have to stay here. He told me my mom said I needed to go with him. So I went and watched TV at his house for a few hours until my dad came and got me. Turns out my mom got into a terrible car wreck when she was out. She got 40 staples in the back of her head and messed up her knee. 2. In the mid-90s I was home alone, laying on the couch with one leg propped up on the top, watching TV. All of a sudden I could feel my thigh shaking vigorously. Then the windows were rattling very loud. I freaked out thinking something from the nearby military base was crashing or something. I went outside, I could see leaves falling, I could still feel my body shaking and was still panicking, and then it just stopped. It was an earthquake. 4.7, but still super creepy. I was home alone after school one day, sitting in the kitchen and minding my own business. Next thing I know, a creepy as hell car pulls up to the sidewalk in front of my house, and 2 teenage boys get out, and just stand there. They're sitting there in front of the car staring at my house, no motion or anything. One of them looked like the definition of a pedophile, whereas the other one looked like he was ready to kill someone. I was thoroughly creeped out, as my paranoia and anxiety levels are beyond belief of height. I get tempted to call my mom and tell her what's going on, but suddenly I get a call from my brother. I answered the phone as the boys started patrolling the outside of my house, not entering the property but staying on the sidewalk and observing. I answered the phone and it went like this. Me, hello. Brother, hey, are there two people standing outside of the house? Me, yeah, I'm scared. They look creepy as fuck. Brother, I knew it. Insert muffled noise. Do they have a water gun? Me, looking at them, I think so. Brother, aw shit. Well, we're going to be home soon so I'll figure out a plan. Then he just hangs up. Turns out they were playing Assassin. It's a game the junior class at my high school plays every year. You have a target and a deadline, and you have to shoot them with water guns without getting shot yourselves. The team that wins gets all the money people spent to play the game. Costs about $5 to play. I was literally shitting myself thinking they were going to break in and do God knows what, when it was just a dumb high school game.
I'd love it if you liked and subscribed.